Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Benny Childs, founder of the Teach Me to Fish Effects trading community, and I am back with another supply and demand market forecast video. If you guys are not yet a subscriber, feel free to head over to the Teach Me to Fish Effects YouTube channel and become a subscriber. If you would like to get access to the mentorship community, then feel free to click on the join button. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this week's supply and demand market forecast. All right, so starting with the Dixie, starting with the dollar index. As you guys see here, I have a green flag, which means the short-term institutional bias for the Dixie is long. All right, so we're going to be looking for buys on this pair if you have a broker and you're trading it. Now, interesting thing is we closed inside of an institutional distribution zone. Now, we do have several different 4-hour supply zones that have yet to be mitigated. So I can definitely see reason as to why we may be able to find targets inside of the Dixie institutional distribution zone this week. All right. As you guys see, based on the 4-hour supply and demand price action, we've been moving up. We've been creating demand zones and respecting these demand zones. So we are currently in an uptrend. So this week coming up, I will be looking to take some supply and demand, or excuse me, I will be looking to take some demand entries off of the Dixie. And firstly, I will be looking at possibly taking it from this transitional zone right here. Okay, we may get confirmation entry or signal to possibly take this trade, which will put us at, looks like about a 22 risk reward trade there. If that doesn't work out, then of course we will just be waiting for the Dixie to come back into any of these demand zones to take the trades up. If that doesn't work out, then we of course will be looking to take some trades off of the transitional demand zones that will be created while price is moving up. Okay, and of course this is if the short-term bias holds out. Of course, we're only going to trade price action. So, and if you guys don't know, I pretty much look for unmitigated zones to take trades from. Okay, we do have liquidity sitting back here, as well as imbalance sitting back here. So we can definitely possibly see the dollar pull back to fill in imbalance, take out liquidity, all right, and possibly give us some type of confirmation trade off of these demand and or imbalance zones. So yeah, we just got to wait for price to come back and wait for our confirmation signals. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Aussie. All right, Aussie USD short-term institutional bias this week would be for shorts. We are sitting in institutional distribution. We are at the equilibrium. We can see where the last few 4-hour candles have been pretty much consolidating right here. Okay, maybe we may get a trade off of this transitional supply right here. Okay. We may see trades coming right out of here, or we may actually see this pair push up through the institutional distribution, catch this 4-hour supply zone, and just trade it down like this until the market has reached whatever demand zone that is holding its orders for this market to turn around. Okay. And also, again, we could take more transitional. All right. This could be this non-mitigated 4-hour supply could be taken out, and we may catch a trade off of some transitional supply zones here. Okay, so you just gotta wait for price to get to your zones and wait for your confirmation. As simple as that. Now we have been lately on an uptrend based on the respecting of the demand zones that have been created. Okay, so again, we do have other institutional distribution up here, as well as unmitigated 4 hours zones where we could see this pair to continue to trend up a little bit and maybe catch a trade off of the supply zones here. Again, we just have to wait to see what the market or what price does for us. Okay. All right, pound USD short-term institutional bias is short for this pair. We had been in a downtrend. Okay, we have had the creation of demand zones that had been respected. Okay, you can see here where a demand zone was created here. Price went up, came back, respected it, pushed up, created a transitional demand zone right here, which was respected, pushed up. Okay, now we have this demand zone right here. All right, so I will be looking for shorts once this demand zone has been taken out, or if we get a pullback into this unmitigated 4-hour supply. Okay, of course, again, we'll wait for confirmation and take that trade going down, or it may come up into any of these unmitigated zones. We do have an unmitigated institutional distribution right here. That price could come up here. Okay, so I mean, just looking at this, we may get a continued push up before getting that trade going down. But again, this would be the zone for me to look at on the onset. If this is taken out, then yes, I would definitely be looking for sell trades coming down. So maybe get something like this, have it retested as a flip zone or turncoat zone, whatever you want to call it, and trade off of that. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for shorts on this pair. All right, USD CAD short-term institutional bias is long for this pair. What we could see, we are sitting inside of what once was 4-hour unmitigated. It has now been mitigated. We did tap into the equilibrium there, so we may, from the onset, get a confirmation trade from here and be able to trade this through these unmitigated 4-hour supplies, which I would encourage you to use those as your take profit points. All right, maybe partial. because we may pushed all the way back into this institutional distribution, which has imbalance that could get filled, as well as unmitigated 4-hour demand. Okay. All right. Euro USD. All right. Short-term institutional bias is consolidation. We are sitting in between institutional distribution as well as institutional accumulation. We do have unmitigated 4-hour supply up here, as well as unmitigated 4-hour demand down here. So how can we take this trade from the onset? Maybe trading off of this 4-hour transitional demand zone. Okay. Maybe this 4-hour transitional supply zone. Okay. Once demand has been broken, maybe we'll get a flip zone or turncoat zone trade off of that to play it going down. Or maybe once supply has been broken, maybe we can get a turncoat or flip zone and trade this going up. Okay. So that's how I would trade that on the onset for Euro USD, while the bias is consolidation for this pair. All right. So let's go ahead and move right along, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to help you guys out as much as possible. All right. So USD JPY short-term institutional bias is long on this pair. We can see that we have already been in an uptrend. All right, the creation and respecting of transitional demand. All right, which is basically has placed us in an uptrend. Let's see if we have any 4-hour. Yeah, okay. So we have 4-hour unmitigated supply here. So maybe we may see something like this. Maybe market open up, come back to one of these demand zones here. All right, and take this trade going up, targeting the unmitigated supplies, as well as possibly targeting unmitigated institutional distribution. Or we may finally get the mitigation of some of these demand zones here before seeing this market push up. All right. So again, short-term institutional bias is long. So of course we're looking for confirmation signals from unmitigated demand zones. Okay. All right. USD Swiss. All right, USD Swiss short-term institutional bias for this is long. So if that holds up, let's see what have we been doing. I believe, yeah, we've been consolidating with this. Let me take a look at last week's bias for the Swiss. Swiss was long and USD was short. All right. So yeah, the institutional bias was short for this last week, and of course we did pretty much go short. All right, so based on the current price leg that we're on, of course we have been on a downtrend. Okay, we did see price come into what once was unmitigated 4-hour demand. We did get a reaction off of that if my computer ever decides to switch over. All right. We did get a reaction off of that coming back into this unmitigated 4-hour supply right here, which we did get a reaction from there. So maybe if the institutional bias, short-term institutional bias, does hold up, maybe we will get a play coming down, maybe to mitigate. Let's delete this. Maybe to mitigate this 4-hour demand, okay, and see a trade to the upside, filling in imbalance as well as targeting this 4-hour unmitigated supply. Or maybe we may actually see a push into the institutional excuse me, institutional accumulation area. We also have 4-hour unmitigated demand here as well as here, that we can probably see this pair pushing down and then trading with the institutions to the upside. Okay. Of course, guys, if that does not work, you want to basically trade flip zone. So I would say maybe this zone right here. If we get the push of that, maybe come back and trade, targeting again imbalance, unmitigated 4-hour institutional distribution equilibrium. Let's see, we have any 4-hour unmitigated? Yep, plenty of 4-hour unmitigated zones that we could see this pair target and take out. Okay. All right. So again, short-term institutional bias for USD Swiss is long. So be on the lookout for your demand zones getting mitigated, as well as finding confirmation to the long side. All right. USD Mexican peso. Short-term institutional bias for this is long. We did tap into this institutional accumulation area. We do have a mitigated 4-hour right here. If we get this 4-hour unmitigated 4-hour supply taken out, traded as a turncoat, possibly targeting these unmitigated 4-hour supply zones. Okay, don't know how far this pair would go up. We definitely have imbalance here, so maybe target this imbalance. It just depends on how strong the dollar is going to go against the Mexican peso in the upcoming week or days. Okay, so again, possibly we may come down. Let's delete this. Possibly we could come down and get an equilibrium trade off of either the institutional accumulation or the unmitigated 4-hour demand. Maybe again targeting this 4-hour supply, unmitigated supply. Okay. All right, NZD USD short-term institutional bias is long. Okay, we have been in an uptrend based on the rules of supply and demand. All right. I'm sorry. Short-term institutional bias for NZD USD is short. Okay, we have been in an uptrend based on supply and demand. So maybe we will see this liquidity taken out, a push up into a 4-hour unmitigated supply, and trade this going down, taking out these unmitigated 4-hour demands and possibly seeing this push back into this institutional accumulation and see it push back up. But again, the trades we're going to be looking for this week based on price action, if the short-term institutional bias holds up, we're going to be looking for shorts. So let's see how many unmitigated 4 hours do we have. Man, we have a lot of unmitigated 4 hour up here. It is very possible, guys, to see a deeper push up, maybe even into this institutional distribution before catching it falling down. So what we can do is, if this 4 hour supply here, let me delete that. If this 4 hour unmitigated supply is taken out, turncoat trade, flip zone trade, whatever you want to call it, off of that, maybe see it push up into any of these 4 hour unmitigated supply zones, as well as this institutional distribution up here. Okay, and then see it push down. Okay, we just got to watch price action and wait for our confirmation before we actually get in and trade. But we are looking to take shorts on NZD/USD. All right, short-term institutional bias for Bitcoin USD is going to be short-term. Excuse me, guys. All right, so we'll be looking for sales off of this, so we could see a push, because we are reacting off of this. I'm going to call it a transitional demand zone, but we are looking for it to probably push up, maybe mitigate this 4 hour and push down, could mitigate the institutional distribution and push down. It could push up into this 4 hour supply and then push down. Okay. All right. So again, I'll be looking to take shorts, waiting for it to get to these areas and waiting for confirmation to take these short. Okay. If I feel a little risque, if you will, then I will take trades off of the in transition demands, targeting my different areas of interest, which are the unmitigated 4 hour supply, institutional distribution, and another unmitigated 4 hour supply. Yeah, we have institutional areas up there. So unless we get some high volume, I wouldn't expect for it to push that far up, but we'll see. Gold, short-term institutional bias is short, so we will be looking again for unmitigated 4 hour supplies, confirmation in these areas, looking for confirmation and unmitigated supply here, as well as this institutional distribution equilibrium. Okay, and maybe target these demands as well as institutional accumulation here. All right, and of course, guys, if that does not work out for us, catch that trade once these have been broken. Catch these turncoat trades and push up. Okay. Same thing with silver. Short-term institutional bias is short. We are coming off of or out of this institutional distribution right here. Now we do have unmitigated 4 hours, so we may see a further push up into this and maybe catch a sell trade off of that, targeting demand. else. This is pretty much a turncoat. We kind of had a reaction off of this, so we may see that push up into this institutional distribution equilibrium right here, or again this unmitigated 4-hour, and then see silver push down, and we can target these demand areas. All right, U.S. oil, guys. Short-term institutional bias for this is sales. All right, we do see where this 4-hour transitional demand was created. It has been mitigated. I'm sorry if I said demand, but I meant supply. It was created, mitigated, pushed off of. We have the creation of this 4-hour unmitigated demand right here. So maybe just looking at this, I'm thinking maybe we catch something like this, see imbalance filled, as well as this unmitigated 4-hour demand zone. See the orders picked up, and then catch this pushing down. That's kind of obvious, so it may or may not take place that way. But nonetheless, this has already been mitigated, but it could be mitigated again. But if not, just wait for this to be broken, price to come back, take it as a flip zone or turncoat trade, target these unmitigated demand areas, as well as we have institutional accumulation with unmitigated 4-hour demand in it. So, but as far as price wants to go down, then we'll take it. All right, and again, we just want to be on the lookout for the unmitigated zones for us to take trades off of. Okay. All right, guys. Last but certainly not least, my favorite pair to trade: the SPX 500 versus the US dollar. Short-term institutional bias for this is shorts. We are sitting inside of institutional demand. Institutional distribution. We have had the mitigation of this 4-hour supply. We may see the tapping of the equilibrium of this 4-hour supply, which will then definitely let's see, it will take out, no, it wouldn't take it out if that equilibrium of the 4-hour demand is tested. But we're sitting at institutional distribution. 4-hour demand, 4-hour supply has been mitigated. So from the onset, I can definitely see this pair going ahead and turning around for us on the onset. But that is, of course, if enough orders have already been filled, or if the institutions do not want to take this pair any higher. But we definitely have some areas that we could possibly be taking trades off of. All right, so again, just don't be surprised if the pairs push up even more, and maybe us taking trades off of any of these unmitigated 4-hour supplies, as well as this unmitigated institutional distribution. So if that is the case, then again, of course, guys, just take your flip zones, or you can trade in transition. Okay. That can be taken out there, come back, retest it. This can be taken out, come back, retest it. We can get any of these combinations. All right, and then it pushed down. So don't be surprised, guys. This, again, just because I give you guys these short-term biases, don't be surprised if price does not do exactly that. But I mean, again, as an example, the SPX 500 It could long all week and then turn around next week. All right. So these short-term institutional biases are not necessarily me saying that this is going to happen today, tomorrow, this week. All right. But it's just for us to keep an eye out for where this could take place in the market. All right, where these turns or continuations can take place in the market. So, all right, guys, that is going to be it for this week, which is Sunday, March 27th, 2022. Supply and demand forecast. I hope this has been helpful. Again, please feel free to comment down below. Let's have a conversation. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any critiques, let me know as well. If you're not a subscriber, it is certainly an honor for me to have you as a subscriber. So it doesn't cost you anything, but if you would like, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I have a bunch of good educational content, and I do respond to my comments. All right, guys, as always, please remember, if you stay in God, you will stay in control. Happy fishing, and always, always wait for confirmation. Bye-bye.